Back here on HQ Spotlight, a brand new WNBA Power Rankings just dropped. The Liberty steering clear there at number 1. They got their rings. They beat the Aces behind Natasha Cloud, who made her cases maybe one of the most important offseason acquisitions. Number 2, Nafisa Collier and the Lynx picked up right where they left off last season. The only team with 2 wins, them and the Mystics so far. And then how about the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark there? Off to a great start. Caitlin Clark had a triple-double. Dawana Bonner moved into 3rd place in the all-time scoring list in the Fever's dominant win, 35-point win over the Sky. Then we have the Aces and the Mercury rounding out the top 5. Just a reminder, you can find that full article right now on CBSSports.com. So we're going to go down this list here with the one and only Erica Ayala. Starting at the top, number 1, the Liberty coming in at number 1 on CBS Sports' WNBA Power Rankings. They opened the season with a comfortable win over the Aces, and new arrival Natasha Cloud fitting in just fine. Typically, we talk about her defense, right, Erica? But she drops 22 points, 9 assists in her debut. What does having a piece like her tell you about what lies ahead for the Liberty?
There's just so many options. I think if you had told me coming into this New York Liberty game against the Aces that Leonie Fibish and Sabrina Ionescu would be in single digits, I probably wouldn't believe you. And that just shows how much depth there is. Now, you're not likely going to get 22 points a game from Tosh Cloud. That's not what she's had to do in her career, but we can see she's very capable of doing that. But what I think, and what I know actually from speaking to Tosh Cloud after this game, is that she takes her role as a leader very seriously. And there were some lulls in this game where she felt that there was not enough energy coming from the New York Liberty squad. You got to be able to close out games against a team like the Aces, and Natasha Cloud was ready for that assignment.
All right, Erica, let's go to number 2 because we have the Liberty coming in at number 1, the Lynx coming in at number 2. 2 road games, no problems, 2 comfortable wins. Nafisa Collier and Jessica Shepard having great games. How impressed are you with their performances and what you saw through the first 2 games of the season with them?
I'm not surprised with Nafisa Collier. We saw what she did in the finals against the New York Liberty. I think this is a player who, coming off of Defensive Player of the Year, coming off a fantastic season with Unrivaled, where, of course, she's a co-founder along with Brianna Stewart. But I think also there's a little bit of a feeling of that this is a revenge tour for the Lynx and perhaps for Nafisa Collier to make her way up in the conversation when it comes to MVP. She's my pick before the season started for MVP. Now with Jess Shepard, this is such a key piece because the Lynx, they give up a little bit of size by not having a true center. So having Jess Shepard, someone that they were able to draft several years ago, but hasn't been healthy, to have Shepard have a performance like she did the other night is huge for what this Minnesota team has in mind, which is to get back to the finals, and not just get back to the finals, but to win the finals. And those years of the Minnesota Lynx dynasty, I was saying it last year, and unabashedly New York Liberty fan here, but the Lynx do very well in odd years. And 2025, maybe that's the year the Lynx surpass the Comets for the most WNBA championships in league history.
Yeah, we see the Liberty banner in the background, Erica. We know where your fandom lies. And by the way, in terms of the Lynx, you can't forget they set that franchise record of 30 wins last season. So we'll have to see if it goes beyond that or at least at 30 for the upcoming season. Let's talk about the Indiana Fever. They're coming in at number 3 on the power rankings here. And man, oh man, what a start to the season. A triple dub from Caitlin Clark. Dawana Bonner moved into 3rd place on the league's all-time scoring list. They cruised to a 35-point win over the Sky. And it doesn't hurt that it's all in front of a sold-out crowd, right? So I feel like it doesn't get much better than that.
It really doesn't. Now, where I do think a lot of teams in the WNBA have made moves to maybe replicate even how the New York Liberty have approached free agency in the last handful of years, everything that the Indiana Fever did was in service to their Rookie of the Year in Caitlin Clark and their other Rookie of the Year, former, in Aaliyah Boston. They know they have a bright future with those 2 players, and now they have provided each one of them veterans that they can learn from and play with in the WNBA. So you get a triple-double. You have Dawana Bonner, who continues to raise in the rankings when it comes to the most the best scoring when it comes to WNBA history and has aspirations to be that #1 scorer in league history. And that's the type of pedigree that's coming alongside Kelsey Mitchell. And it's just a fantastic team to watch. And I didn't even get to their head coach, who knows a little bit about this franchise. The Indiana Fever is someone who I think has the potential to be the coach of the year. That's a lot of firepower for this Fever team, and they delivered in their first game of the season.
Of course, we always talk about Caitlin Clark, but we cannot forget that Aaliyah Boston is on that roster as well. The Fever coming in at #3 on the power rankings. The Las Vegas Aces coming in at #4. A'ja Wilson looks like her typical A'ja Wilson self. But Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, Jewel Loyd, they all combined for 33 points on 11 of 42 from the field. So what needs to change with that trio moving forward, Erica?
I think it's about settling in. Another thing, just to go back to Tosh Cloud real quick, and the New York Liberty, is that they played Jackie Young. They played especially Chelsea Gray. Leonie Febish was picking up Chelsea Gray full court from the minute that the tip-off was live. And so there was a lot of defense thrown at this Aces team. What I sometimes wonder about, though, is who is there to support A'ja Wilson when it comes to the paint. The New York Liberty also dominated paint points, against this Aces squad, who, as you said, best player in the world, A'ja Wilson, is there. And if you have A'ja Wilson out of the paint defensively, because the Liberty is a 5-out team, who else brings that size? And so that is something on the defensive side. I do think the shots will fall. It was the first game. It was a charged up game. The Liberty got their rings. The banner went up. And this is a growing rivalry. Things will settle in, but yes, Loyd has to be able to execute. She's there to be a shooter, and she has to be able to do that. Chelsea Gray, we saw what she can do. I think she'll be able to facilitate with a little bit more ease as the season goes on. But long term for this Aces squad, I do think that they need a little bit more support in the front court so that they have someone as a 1-2 punch alongside A'ja Wilson.
All right, so if we round out the top 5 here, that goes to the Mercury, and some tough news for them because just hours before their tip-off of their season opener, the team announces that their 4-time All-Star Kalia Copper is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks after getting knee surgery. So how much more difficult does that make life, the road ahead for the Mercury here moving forward?
I mean, it's a huge loss. This is an Olympian. This is a powerhouse, someone who does not back down. And she has been the firepower, the engine, if I might say, for this Phoenix Mercury squad since coming over from Chicago. But the good news for the Mercury fans is that they got the engine, Alyssa Thomas, as well as, there you go, Satu Sabali in free agency. Both of these players are a force. They play physical, they play hard. And we saw that Sabali's Phoenix Mercury debut, she scored the most points for anyone in franchise history in their debut. That includes the likes of a Diana Taurasi. Now, DT was a rookie when she made her debut for Phoenix, so we'll give a little bit of a reprieve there. But this is a charged up team, 2 players that are coming to a brand new franchise, but that are very much proven in the WNBA at the international stage. And I liked what I was seeing. I think Nate Tibbetts and his team, they can kind of craft and build what they want. I think this is a team that Tibbetts feels he can truly guide and is in alignment with the vision that he has for the organization. So that makes them a pretty powerful and dangerous squad if they can keep that clip up offensively that we saw in their opening game.
So, Erica, if we go outside of the top 5 towards the bottom of the list, at number 11, we find the Chicago Sky. Maybe a little surprising because you do have Angel Reese, Haley Van Lith, Camila Cardoso. It's not that they don't have the talent, but in that matchup with the Fever, they shot 30% from the floor, turned the ball over 17 times. Then, of course, we all saw the flagrant foul that was called on Angel Reese. So is it too early? It feels like it is too early to panic here, but what needs to happen? What adjustments need to be made here? Because the talent is there. So how do they turn that into winning in Chicago?
And there's so many elements that we also have to bring into here, knowing that this is a Chicago team that has been in position to get a playoff spot, but hasn't been able to get over that hump. And they've had some coaching changes, including this year. They have a new coaching staff. Once again, we know that Haley Van Lith was a little bit questionable in her debut, so wondering if there may be some lingering effects of something that was bothering her, tweaking her. But Kia Nurse, new to this squad. Rebecca Allen, new to this squad. All very capable players, and I think that can spread the court, give them some spacing offensively. That's the vision, but it's going to take a little while. And so they're going to have to rely on Angel Reese. They're going to have to rely on Camila Cardozo. The good news for Sky fans is that those two players are not only great in the paint, they're great front court, but they also can facilitate to each other and to their teammates. So they're going to have to absorb a lot of contact. They're going to have a lot of responsibility on the block and then push that ball out. But that means that their teammates have to keep moving, find space on the perimeter, and then, of course, start knocking down some shots so that then that opens up the paint for Reese and Cardozo. So I think it's still going to be a season where the Chicago Sky are vying for that 8th and final playoff spot. It is a little bit too early right now, especially given some other teams came out the gate swinging, ready to go. This is going to take a little bit more time for the Sky.
All right, Erica, we certainly appreciate it. Talking about the WNBA and the start to the season has been absolutely phenomenal. Joining us here on Spotlight. If we get a look at the odds to win it all, who is going home with the championship, the Liberty, they are the favorites to repeat at +220. The Fever, Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston in the squad not far behind at +330. The Lynx and the Aces. Then we get into some longer odds there, 13-1 for the Mercury.